Okay, so the only thing I knew about this one was that the cast looked pretty solid. Katherine Waterston is usually good, Michiel Huisman too, and Michael Shannon is just great. Worth the shot, I figured, and well, it's a pretty good looking movie too. It has this very modern, clean and sleek look, which I like, so off to a good start. And it's about a photographer who's dealing with her husband taking his own life. She's sort of moved on from it, but she has to go back to Belgium where they lived to deal with something. And naturally she starts finding things that don't add up, so she starts digging. And that's the central plot of this movie. She's trying to figure out what exactly happened and why. So it has a bit of a mystery thriller vibe to it, but here's the problem. That whole plot wasn't very interesting to me. And the whole situation didn't make that much sense to me either. Because she'd already moved on, it had been a year and she hadn't gone digging. But now all of a sudden she's not over it and this thing starts to consume her. That just seemed a little weird and the whole mystery plot never seemed that organic either. I'm not sure why, but it just felt forced, like they tried way too hard to make it interesting. And Katherine Waterston's performance didn't help, it was just flat and almost aloof. And I get it, she was supposed to be depressed and sad and confused, but I don't know, it was like watching a zombie move through most of the scenes. However, I'll say this, I was never bored, it held my interest all the way through. But it just wasn't that great either, and when the central plot is the least interesting part of the movie, you've got a problem. Now there actually is a silver lining to this, because I haven't talked about the great part of the movie yet. So let's talk about Michael Shannon. How come he's so good, huh? He plays this random guy who stays next door to the main character in the hotel. He's got maybe a handful of scenes in total and doesn't really affect the main plot at all. But he is absolutely fantastic, I mean he just steals the show. Every scene he's in is great, but as I said he's not in this that much. But every time he's on screen he just steals the spotlight and makes it look effortless. And I gotta admit, these are the kind of roles I love him in, small and understated. But roles that give him the chance to be subtle and impactful. I feel like whenever he's in a big movie he's never at his best. It's small movies like this where he shines. And his performance in this is so good it elevated the whole experience for me. Take him out of this and I would have probably already forgot about this movie. Because while it's not terrible in any way, it's just not that memorable either. Nothing really stands out except Michael Shannon. Oh, and well, there's one other thing too, I guess. The tone and the theme and the feelings it leaves you with. Because this thing is bleak and tragic, and I do mean bleak and tragic. It starts off just plain tragic, and then it gets a little bit more tragic. Then it just dwells in the bleakness and comes in with a few glimpses of hope here and there. And just when you think something good's gonna come out of it all, nope. More bleakness and tragedy. I mean, it tried at the very end. It did try to inject a tiny bit of hope in there, but it was way too little, way too late. And listen, I'm not against dark, tragic movies, but you gotta either lean into it so hard you basically go overboard, or you can make it darkly comedic, or you gotta end it on a positive note. Preferably one that's big enough to offset the tragedy a little bit. But this one just emotionally throws shit in your face for 90 minutes and then tries to console you with a Kleenex. But what bothered me the most was that the last thing that happened was completely unnecessary. There was no need to twist the knife in the wound. The whole situation was sad enough already. So yeah, I'm not sure what this thing was going for, but I think it missed the mark. Michael Shannon was great though. It looked good and it never bored me. So I don't know. Would I recommend it? Well, if you don't mind a super tragic movie, sure. Otherwise probably skip it. Or don't. I'm not your dad.